My next guest is Stuart Stevens, a former Mitt Romney campaign strategist and founding partner at Strategic Partners in Media. He thinks the Rubio campaign needs to change its strategy, and soon. Stu, good to see you. And I know you like Marco Rubio. It's nothing against him, but how is he messing it up?
Well, look, as you say, I'm a great Marco Rubio fan. I just think that you have to post up against the guy who is winning. And I think a message about the party is not a very compelling message to most people. Most people who vote in Republican primary, they don't care about the party, they care about their lives. And I think that Donald Trump has laid out a series of economic proposals in his haphazard way that would have devastating impact on jobs and this sort of crazy foreign policy ideas that he's had that would put America at risk. I think you really need to talk about that, not about the future of the party. I think you need to talk about what it's going to mean if Donald Trump was president versus what it would mean if Marco Rubio were president.
So first point on that, there was a report just today that major financial donors who don't like Trump are not going to give money to an anti-Trump campaign because they're worried that they'll get hit. I mean, just yesterday we saw Trump warn Marlene Ricketts, a big Republican donor who had donated money against Trump, quote, better be careful. They have a lot to hide, he said, about the Ricketts family. So he scares some people into thinking he's going to come after them. And they also worry it's not going to work because he's a Teflon Don.
You know, I thought Senator Sass in Nebraska had the perfect response to that, that threat, that thuggish threat from Donald Trump. He said, can you imagine if this guy had his hands on the FBI and the CIA and the national security apparatus? These are opportunities. Donald Trump is uniquely unqualified to be president of the United States, and he demonstrates it every day in different ways. I think that you have to take that, use it against him, show what people want in a president, show how Donald Trump is lacking, and show the sort of steadiness and temperament that a Marco Rubio or a John Kasich has.
They've seen what his temperament is. They know what his qualifications are. They like that. That is not a deal breaker for him. They see a man who's extremely successful financially, who speaks their language, who understands the struggles of middle class and blue collar America and doesn't talk over their heads. You know, those ads, we've seen some try, Club for Growth tried. The people have rejected that in favor of a disruptor.
I think that it's like any argument. First, you have to argue to win an argument. Secondly, you have to frame it. So look at last week in South Carolina. In the most military state in the country, he went out and called George Bush a war criminal, basically. And in one of the most religious states in the country, he attacked the Pope. You have to frame that. I mean, he was running basically as a combination of Michael Moore and Christopher Hitchens, but he was never held accountable for that. That's how you win. You have to show what the consequences are that these people are saying, what he's saying, and how it affects people's lives.
Look, Jeb Bush tried a little of that. You saw how it ended for him. You know,
to vote for Donald Trump.
The question is whether, well, people like Jeb Bush tried that and then failed miserably. But I want to talk about Marco Rubio because I see your point. You're basically saying past his prologue. And if Rubio doesn't change something about the way he's running this campaign, he can expect the same results that he's been getting. And your message about just talking about the party is interesting. When you hear him on the stump, he does say, you know, middle-class Americans are struggling, and he talks about his personal story, and he talks about how, you know, other Americans are in that same boat and so on. What is it about him? I mean, what does he need to do to go from third and fifth to first in some of these contests?
I think he has to show that he understands your life better than Donald Trump does. I think he's putting out half the argument. I think he's showing that he understands your life, but he's not showing that Donald Trump doesn't understand your life. It's a choice. If they believe that both are equally qualified or both can satisfy what it is that they have, you may lose that argument. Right now, he is losing that argument. So you have to go in and you have to disqualify the other person. It's a straight-up debate. you have to show why the other person is wrong and why you're right and what the consequences are. What it'll mean for your job.
What about this argument that we keep hearing?
Taxes.
My apologies, because we're having a delay. But what about this argument we keep hearing that, you know, if only Kasich could get out, or if only Cruz could get out, you know, then that would clear the path for Rubio to amass more votes, or, you know, this sort of argument that less candidates need to be in this race?
I think that's a terrible argument. First of all, there's something sort of inherently weak about it. You know, if I could have picked the field of the Daytona 500, I could have won the Daytona 500. I would have gotten my mom to race and maybe a couple of her friends, and maybe I would have had a shot. You have to race the field. You can't say, well, if only these people got out, I'd have a shot. That's not what people want. They want you to go out there, post up with who's in there, and win. I think that there's been this strange, almost unique obsession with the order of losing versus the paramount need to win. Now, Donald Trump is focused on winning, and he's won a couple of these things. He may win today. The rest of the field who wants to win has got to go out there and challenge Donald Trump.
It's fast. It's true. If only we could have different contestants. I know I could win this thing. Stuart, it's great to see you.